You got a raise last year, maybe even a promotion, but here's something nobody tells you. A higher salary does not always mean a better financial life. In fact, for millions of people, life feels more expensive even after getting a raise. And if that sounds familiar, you are not imagining it. So what's actually happening to your money right now? Let's make this simple. 5 years ago, you were earning $50,000 a year. Today, you're making $60,000. On paper, that looks like progress. A bigger paycheck should mean more freedom. But here's the strange part. Your financial life doesn't feel better. Why? Because while your income moved up, something else moved even faster. And most people never notice it until the pressure becomes hard to ignore. Rent, groceries, gas, insurance, everything around you keeps getting more expensive. Year after year. Now, most people assume, if I make more money, I'm automatically doing better financially. But that assumption is quietly destroying people's financial stability. Because there is something slowly eating your raise in the background. It has a name: inflation. But forget the complicated textbook definition. Inflation is actually very simple. It is the slow shrinking of your money's power. Not your salary number, your real purchasing power. Think about it like this. A few years ago, $100 could fill an entire grocery cart. Today, that same $100 feels incomplete. Same money, less groceries, and that feeling is not in your head. That is real economic change. And here is where things get even worse. Inflation does not affect everything equally. It attacks the things you cannot avoid. Rent, food, healthcare, transportation, the exact things required for everyday survival. So even if your lifestyle looks unchanged, your financial pressure keeps increasing in the background. Slowly, quietly, month after month. Now, let's connect this to your raise. Imagine you got a 5% salary increase this year. Sounds good, right? But what if inflation is 6%? Then here's the uncomfortable truth. You did not move forward. You moved backward. Even if your paycheck says higher, you are not earning less. Your money is simply becoming weaker. And most people don't realize it until years later. And this is where millions of people get mentally trapped because they see more money entering their bank account, but feel less freedom in real life. So naturally, they blame themselves. Maybe they think, I'm bad with money. But the real problem is often much bigger than personal spending habits. Let's make it real. Your grocery bill used to be around $100 per week. Now it's $130, maybe even higher. Rent increases every year. Insurance quietly climbs. Subscriptions slowly pile up. Individually, none of these changes feel dramatic. But together, they create constant financial pressure. Slowly, relentlessly. And here's the part almost nobody talks about. You don't feel inflation directly. You feel the reaction to it. You save less without planning to. You use credit cards more often. You delay investments and financial goals. Not because you are irresponsible, but because your money no longer stretches the same way it used to. And slowly, without realizing it, your normal life starts feeling expensive. That is the real power of inflation. Not panic, not collapse, just slow adjustment over time. Now, here's an important question. Is the real problem your income, or is it the value of your income? Now, can you stop inflation? No, nobody can, but here's what you can control. First, you cannot depend only on annual raises anymore, because in today's economy, salary increases often fail to beat inflation, so you have to think beyond just job income. Skills, career upgrades, side income, financial knowledge. Second, do not let all your cash sit idle forever, because in a high inflation economy, money that does nothing slowly loses value over time, even if the number in your account stays the same. Third, track the small financial leaks, not just the big expenses, because financial pressure rarely comes from one big mistake. It builds slowly, one habit, one subscription, one decision at a time. But here is the most important part of all. If you feel like you are falling behind financially, it is not always personal failure. Sometimes, the entire system is moving faster than your paycheck. So let's end with the real question. Not, how much money are you making? But, how much of that money still has real purchasing power today? Because in today's economy, income is not the real metric anymore. Purchasing power is. And in the end, money is not just what you earn. It is what that money can still buy in the real world. If this breakdown changed the way you think about money, subscribe to Fundora Finance for simple explanations on money, inflation, investing, and the economy. And as always, thanks for watching.